Japan joint meeting. We're honored to be joined by the Japanese ambassador to the United States, Koji Tomita, who's right here. Thank you. He has written books on both Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher. And there's a lot of people in the Southeast U.S. who like Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher, I can tell you that. So we're honored to have him. Also, Kazuhiro Nakai, Consul General of Japan in Miami, has been to Tallahassee. We've been able to visit with him. Really appreciate his support. Mio Maeda, General Counsel of Japan in Atlanta, is here. Thank you so much. Yuichi Matsumoto, Consul General of Japan in Nashville. Thank you for being here. Nobuhito Sasaki, the Chairman of JETRO. Thank you, sir, for being here. And Masaki Suya, as you know, Bridgestone Corporation. I think most Americans have heard of Bridgestone tires and corporations, and I can tell you a lot of golfers have heard of Bridgestone golf balls, because they're doing a very good job with the golf balls, and even that's the golf ball that Tiger Woods uses, so you know that they're doing something right. So we really appreciate everybody who's come together to make this conference possible. I also just want to say, and I know this happened earlier in the year, and we had expressed condolences at the time, but we were really saddened to see the death of Shinzo Abe here in the state of Florida, because he was somebody who was a stalwart ally of the United States of America. He was a true friend to the American people, and he was one great leader for the people of Japan. So we're now here with a lot of Japanese. We extend our condolences for a really, really great loss of a really great man. We're also excited, though, about the U.S.-Japan alliance, the relationship. Yes, Southeast U.S., but as a whole, we just have to understand we have threats in this world to free societies. And if you look at the Asia-Pacific region, the number one challenge that free people have to deal with is the rise of China and the Chinese Communist Party. And if you look at those threats, there's no way those can be managed without a strong Japan and a strong United States relationship. And so we very much as Americans appreciate Japan's role in being a real leader in the Asia-Pacific region. If you want to know what's the problems in the Asia-Pacific, a lot of people can see those. You want to know what's right about Asia-Pacific? Japan is what's right about the Asia-Pacific region. So we thank you for that. We also are proud of being able to offer really great opportunities to continue our economic ties with the people of Japan. If you look at the Southeast United States, there's an unmistakable trend in the United States of America for people uprooting, voting with their feet, leaving jurisdictions in other parts of our country, and not only bringing their individuals, their families, their talent, but a lot of wealth to states in the southeastern United States. And there's a long list of reasons for that. It's not something that happened just overnight, but I think it's really accelerated over the last few years, particularly in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We saw too many states in our country lock people down, grind them down, keep kids out of school, make it impossible to do business, impose arbitrary mandates. And the places where we trusted people to make decisions, where we protected people's rights to be able to work and do business, and we ensured our kids could be in school in person very early on, that paid big dividends, because people wanted to be in areas where their rights were respected, where their decisions were respected. And we had a number of businesses migrate within the United States to come to the state of Florida. I mean, Fauci, he hated the restaurants. He was always complaining that Florida had restaurants open. But you know what happened? A lot of these restaurants couldn't operate in some of these places effectively in our own country because of these restrictions. So they set up shop in Florida. And these are like great places. I was telling the guys earlier, you have these unbelievable Japanese sushi chefs are now in Florida doing like really great things. You have they bring in this Kobe beef, unbelievable what's going on. And so you see our hospitality, our leisure, our restaurant has boomed in the last few years in ways that nobody thought possible. And in fact, people thought with COVID that Florida was going to end up doing, the tourism was going to stop, our economy was going to crater. And actually, it ended up being just the opposite. In 2021, Florida set a record for domestic tourism. We were the #1 destination for other Americans to travel to by a country mile. And in 2021, if you look at all foreign tourism to the United States of America as a whole, almost 45% of all foreign tourism to America was right here in the state of Florida. We've never had one state take up so much of the tourism market as we did in 2020. And a lot of it was because people knew that this was the free state of Florida. They knew that they could come here. They knew that they could enjoy themselves. And so if you look at 2020, particularly when COVID hit, we had $24 billion of adjusted gross income move from other states into the state of Florida. And if you look at the states that hemorrhaged that adjusted gross income, New York, Illinois, California, tens of billions of dollars leaving. These other Southeast states, like Georgia, South Carolina, they are also getting, Tennessee, Nashville, unbelievable what's going on. And so these trends are just unmistakable. And so if you want to be in a place where you can do well in the United States in terms of future investment or expanding existing investment, you gotta look to the Southeast United States, because these trends are strong. These trends are not gonna change anytime soon. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, I think we're very proud of our tax environment. We do not have an income tax in the state of Florida. We have a very low corporate income tax as well, at least compared to our major competitors in some of the big states. We want people to do well in Florida. We want you to be, if you start a business, we're #1 in the nation in new business formations for many years now, even though we're half the size of California and they're supposed to be the internet startup capital. We have way more business formations in Florida with 22 million people than they do in California with 40 million people. And I think part of it is people feel like the state wants them to succeed, that they actually want to see them do well. And I've had people move businesses from some of these other states, and they feel like these other states are just trying to stack the deck against them and treating them as almost like they're an enemy just because they're trying to do well with a small business or a medium-sized business. And so our mentality is, we believe attracting more economic opportunity is good for our state. If you look at our unemployment, I mean, we've added jobs. We added jobs this past month, even though we had a Category 4+ hurricane hit at the end of September. October, we still added, I think, 35,000 private sector jobs in the state of Florida, and our unemployment rate is one of the lowest that we've ever had in our history. And so you see that our labor force is expanding here in Florida, and I know this is true with a lot of the other Southeast United States, and so we're really the place to be. I think this region of the country, I would say that if you look at the state of Florida, one of the things that we're doing as good or better than anyone is space. And I know some of you have been able to go to Kennedy Space Center and check that out. I can tell you, you go back 10 years, they had retired the space shuttle. NASA was basically on the mat. It was a time of real serious despair in that industry. But you've had really major private sector investment. You have some of the greatest companies now, like Elon Musk, SpaceX, and many others. A lot of the major defense companies are there. And you've seen massive growth, massive opportunity. So that's something that we're very proud of. And we know that Kennedy Space Center is the top, or certainly one of the top hubs for space in the entire world. And so we're going to continue to do that. We're also very proud of being a great tourist destination. We would like to see expansion of flights direct from Florida to Japan and vice versa. I mean, I think that this is a great place. I think a lot of Japanese people would really love to come and visit Florida. Of course, this part of Florida, there's a lot of attractions, but I think what people have found out, particularly over the last couple of years, is, man, there are so many other great spots that you can be in the state of Florida that we're really proud of. And yes, Miami gets a lot of attention, and it's attracted people from all over the world. That is really the capital of Latin America in this hemisphere. But if you look at it, you go down, you go west, you go to the Tampa Bay area, never been doing better. You go to some of these places in Southwest Florida. I mean, you saw the hurricane, but what I would tell people is, when this debris is picked up, this place is going to come back better. if you look at just a beautiful piece of land, and these are really good people. So that area is going to boom again, and you can mark that down. You also look at places like the Northwest Florida and the Panhandle. In fact, some of these guys are going to end up living in the Panhandle, they were telling me at some point, because it draws people from all across the Southeast. In fact, I remember this summer of 2020, like June, July, you know, there were not a lot of places you could even go to and be normal. And so you go to the Panhandle in Florida, you see Texas plates, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia. They just all converge on 30A and on these other places throughout Northwest Florida. And so they had the best summer they have ever had in 2020 summer, when COVID was, you know, something that was causing some people to not want to do stuff. So we're proud of all of that. I think there's a lot of great things that we can do working with Japan, and we're very, very impressed with Japanese business, Japanese economy, Japanese commitment to core values that America holds dear. And we're very grateful for the great alliance that this country has with not only the government of Japan, but the people of Japan. So welcome. We're happy that you're here. We look forward to being able to expand our ties in all of our states, and certainly in the state of Florida. You name it. If you got interest in investing here, let us know. We'll make it worth your while, because we think that this is a great place to be, as are some of our other states in the southeastern United States. So thank you for being here, and we look forward to working with you throughout this conference. God bless you all.